That's a different looking.
No, it's just got the training on here.
You're live.
So good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's okay. It's a wonderful, wonderful day where I am, and I hope it is where you are. So we've got Mr. Rob Fortney in the house. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening in America. I'm in the rainy mountains of Thailand.
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm still in my little office up in Antipolis, and we're going to rock and roll today. Rob, today what we're going to do is, like we discussed earlier, is go back over how to find a product. We've got a few new people in the group, and even if you're a seasoned seller, it's always time to go and have a look at finding new products. And sometimes people get stuck on the second time, third time, fourth time round. So it's always good to recap and go over some of these points. So today what we're going to do is go through the Amasuite 5 top product analyzer. I'm going to do a walkthrough on that for an hour, so I hope everyone's okay with that. So let's remind us which package that is. So it's going to be the orange symbol with the PA. So it's the top product analyzer we're going to be looking at inside the Amasuite suite of softwares, because there's about 4 or 5 different items in there. So it's this particular one that we're looking at here is the one I'm going to be covering today. So I'm just going to jump straight in, Rob, if that's okay.
That's great.
So I need to exit that and jump straight into the software itself. Right, so basically what we're going to do here, and unfortunately what I can't do is I can't zoom in, because I can zoom in if it's a web page, but this is a standalone product, so you'll have to bear with me. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through the navigation on here and see what we've got here. Then I'm going to dive in and have a look at picking products and see if we can analyze some in the second half. So I just want to go through these buttons at the top here. So we've got the sort of the close the software, so that's the on-off button, as it were. Then you got the little floppy disk as a save button. Then you got the folder where you actually save, and actually you can pull out saved information or data files from that. You got an information button, which is basically about the software, just to make sure that you're on the right software level. They've done an update recently. I updated my system last night, so just make sure you've got sort of the latest information, the latest downloads, and you can do that in the download center on the main login for Amasuite 5. So the next one over is just to help, where you got the support videos, the training videos, and the training videos on these are quite good, actually. So Dave does a quite good job on walking through the actual product itself. Dave's the guy that wrote the software. His partner is Chris Guthrie, who we've had on the show a couple of times. He is the Amazon seller. So as a partnership, they've built this software and allowed us to actually purchase and use it, which is great. This is the link to the Facebook group. So if you're not already a part of the Facebook group, this is great. This is the Amasuite 5 or Amasuite Facebook group. If you're not already a member, click that if you purchase the software, because you've got some pretty good updates and information in there where you can ask questions about the product and software itself. Okay.
Hey, Paul,
yeah, go on.
I would like to explain real quick about Amasuite. I'm getting that echo in the background of you again. So basically 2.5 years ago, I was trying to find products, and I was hosting the Gorillaz meetings back then, but I was interviewing all the time some of the top sellers, and that was my way to get information from them. And so one of the people out there and I had been kind of trying to put together what I called my super product selector. At the time, I had no idea that I'd share it with anybody, but my goal was to come up with some criteria that products look like. And so I started gathering all this information, and there were some guys out there, and they're still out there, from a course called Marketplace Superheroes. And those guys were super sharp, and there was some Mark Adams, but I went through their stuff and thought, hey, there's some good stuff here. And anyway, I started putting in the super product selector together, the criteria that I thought were good products. Well, I was having to do it by hand. I was having to look for these attributes, and it was, it would take you a good 10 minutes to look at one product, and even if it took a minute and a half, it was too long to look at a product for that long. And so what was happening at the time, I was trying to also do Amazon affiliate, and because I had no idea if I was going to be FBA or affiliate, I was just trying to figure out how to make money online. And so ultimately, I was using a version of Amasuite to help find products for Amazon FBA through affiliates. And that's one of the things that Amasuite still does. But at the time, so I started comparing. One day I was comparing the things that Amasuite, produced. I mean, what was it able to search on Amazon for? And I started looking at the list I had, and it was almost identical to the things that I was looking for. And I was just shocked. And then all of a sudden I realized, well, I could search through thousands and thousands of products almost instantly instead of having to go through them hand by hand. And so the miracle of Amasuite was that I could, instead of doing 1 or 2 or 20 in a day, I could do 10,000 in a day if I wanted to, which is a heck of a time saver, as well as is exposing you to more products and more likelihood you can hone in on the product that you're looking for. So ultimately what happened was I became friends with Chris Guthrie, and we ended up being a part of the launch of Amasuite 4. And here we are 2 years later, and they're on Amasuite 5, and they have some new software tools in there. Also remember that this is a suite of software. It's just not this product selection stuff. And I'm sure Paul will hit on that at least briefly about the other products, but there are 4 other sets of software that this thing's come with. So it's not much more than what Jungle Scout is, and it offers several other products. So it's a great product. We've been using it for 2 years, and it definitely helps you find products. Now, let me give you the one main difference between this, because people know that, well, which is better, Amasuite or Jungle Scout? All right, so basically, what Amasuite does is Amasuite does live searches and filtering, meaning it goes out instantly at the time that you're doing it, and it finds it. Now, one of the issues you're going to find is if you get this software, is that it takes a minute for it to go scan Amazon. You got to imagine if it's scanning through 10,000 products and they each take 2 seconds. Well, 2 seconds times 10,000 can take a minute sometimes. So I suggest that if you're going to ever search with Amasuite, that you try to set it up, maybe not at the same time that you're doing, or do it in the background while you're doing something else on your computer. It's not like sit down, start, and then do it. You kind of got to go get the data then to sift through it. So that's the backstory of Amasuite. It is probably at the moment one of my more favorite softwares. I mean, I'm still a fan of Jungle Scout, but because of the live search feature, I feel that I'm getting a larger audience or a larger group of products to search for, where Jungle Scout has products that are in their database and you search a database. And so Amasuite does live searches, which is different. And so what I found is a lot of people using Jungle Scout are finding similar products because they're searching a database. There's only so many ways you can search a database. So with Amasuite, you have the entire thing, and you can delve down into specific categories. Like you can go into subcategories of subcategories and search for things. So it's a definite advantage. There's a couple other tools in there that are super good. And that is my Amasuite background.
Which is pretty important to understand. Like I said, we've had Chris on the show a couple of times, and I dare say we'll have him on again in the future at some point. So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Right, so I'm gonna jump in now. So basically, I'm just gonna finish up as the FBA calculator, the start and stop. So carry on with the navigation on the left hand side. We've got one column here which is full of all of the subcategories and categories within inside Amazon itself. And this pane over here, this main large pane that you can see here, this is where the results will show up once you start to gather that data in. Right. So on the left hand side, we've got two areas at the top. We're going to click that down. You got an option at the moment. It only works with the US and the UK, so it doesn't have the option to go and gather the data in the other platforms that Amazon have, i.e. Canada, Mexico, and some of the European countries. Okay, so it's only US and the UK at the moment. So in our case, we're going to be doing Amazon.com in the UK and the US. So I'm going to select that. And you've also got the option to go and gather data within certain fields that Amazon have set up. We've got the best sellers, which obviously a lot of people are aware of. But if you're not aware of, Amazon also have other sections you can go and have a look at, which is hot new releases, movers and shakers, most wished for, and most gifted. All right. So, but at the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this on best sellers. All right, so and the next one down is just the search bar. So if you've got something in mind, you can actually go and search for a particular product or a subcategory or a niche, and it will show you all of the subcategories that are related to that search word that you're putting in there. So if I put in a sand bucket, for example, I don't know why I've come up with that, but I put in sand bucket and do a search, that's just going to show me, no categories found, so that must be a super tight niche. I'm just going to put in bucket then. And it's going to show me all of the relevant areas or subcategories that I'm interested in. So if I'm interested in a sand bucket, and what I've got in my mind is making sandcastles on the beach, the automotive bucket may not be what I'm after, so I wouldn't worry about that. So as I'm coming down and I see something that is relevant, or bucket organizers, probably not. Buckets and mops, ice buckets, no. Buckets, and so I can't actually find what I'm looking for, so that's probably not the right thing. But if we did see something here, say if you're interested in ice buckets, for example, and ice tongs, and you didn't know where that was, we can have a look down here. It says kitchen and dining, ice buckets and tongs. You would tick that, and you would tick that sort of subcategory there. So you got those two selected. Okay, so that's an easy way to go and search for whatever you're looking for. But in my case, I'm going to go through and do it longhand. And basically what you can do now is, well, now this is expanded out, it's a very good opportunity to have a look at that. Now, again, I do apologize, you can't actually see this very well, but once you've got the recording, or you can actually come back and have a look at this on in a much clearer format. So basically what we've got here is all of the categories that are listed inside Amazon itself. All right, so on the automotive, you've got car care, exterior care, and then you've got car wash equipment and buckets. So I'm just going to sort of reload that so we can actually see the top categories. Okay, so all I've done there is just hit reload or refresh this list. All right, so initially what we suggest is stay away from categories that you are that are gated, or in other words restricted. So restricted categories include automotive, they include beauty, clothing, collectibles. You're not allowed to sell. So the easiest thing to do, and don't give yourself a headache, is just to identify and to search through categories that are fully open. Something like baby is fully open. You don't need any permissions or special permissions to sell in the baby category. So if I just go into the baby category and I just press that cross next to it as in a plus sign, and I press that, that's going to open up the baby category. Now, the way I operate, it doesn't mean to say this is the only way to operate, but the way I operate is just to make things nice and clean for myself when I'm saving files and analyzing. Is if I'm doing baby, I'll only do baby. I won't then go off and do home and kitchen or add another subcategory in that or another category. So I'll just keep mine nice and clean just so I can save the files with respect to, and I'll save it as baby, and I'll put today's date down. So that's just the way I operate, just to make things nice and clean. And if I want to go off and do another subcategory later on, then I can do that in home and kitchen, for example. And then I'll call it home and kitchen and today's date. But let's have a look in baby. So if I just open up some of these subcategories, you can see every time I actually press the plus button, it'll open up a subcategory. Now you can see now we've got baby, then we've got bathing and skincare as the next subcategory, and under that you've got some subcategories as well. So you've got aromatherapy. So we've got baby, bathing and skincare, aromatherapy. So there's 3 layers deep, and each of these subcategories has its own top 100 products.
Hey, by the way, hey, Paul.
Yes, Rob.
I mean, by the way, just as a heads up, Jungle Scout does not do it this way. If you haven't seen how Jungle Scout works, it doesn't do it this way. So, I mean, to be able to delve this far deep into categories that you would never, ever have thought. And this is linked exactly to what the strategy of the Gorillaz are, which is these super small niches that you can go in and dominate. Well, you know, I mean, if you go down a ladder like this thing, down a rabbit hole, and there's 3 or 4 different subcategories, by the time you get down to that last subcategory, I mean, you're searching directly into a super niche. There's no way it can be. It's that far down in there. And
yeah, agree. And you're going to have a lot less competitors this deep down. Now, if we were going to go into baby, you know, we've got to search through the whole of baby. We're talking about the top 100 sellers in baby itself, the top category. The chances of you getting into a position of that straight out the gate as your first product, very, very slim. So this is why we'd like to drill down. Now, if you look at skincare, soaps and cleansers, I'm going to look at washcloths and towels. So if I expand that again, that's another subcategory. So we're 4 categories deep inside this one particular category at the moment. So this is how powerful that is. If you like the look of something, you think, you know what, I want to get into the child, I want to get into the baby category, I want to sell babies, stroke toddlers, stroke kids stuff. That's my niche that I'm really interested in. Then this is how you do it. The way you're going to do this is identify aromatherapy. Or I want to sell these pacifiers with a little moustache on it. Okay, don't get hung up on a particular product to start with. Let the software identify the right opportunities for you. Okay, but it's good to go in there and have a look at some of these categories. So I'm gonna actually tick some of these just to show you what's going to happen. I'm only going to do a few and run the software because, as Rob said, it does take several hours for the data. But don't worry, I've already got some data that I saved last night, so we can pull that up later. So I'm going to tick washcloths and wash gloves, bath and hooded towels. I'm going to click travel bathing kits. Okay, I quite fancy those 3 out of this little subcategory here under bathing and skincare. So if I then scroll down again, I can then look at feeding, for example. So I'm going to expand out feeding. You notice how I've skipped sort of bedding, cars, and diapers. You can actually open up all of these and tick on some of these. Now, when you're actually running this for real, I would tick about between 10 and 15 boxes. Okay, because if you tick any more than that, it's just going to take an awful long time to go and get it. If you tick less than that, which I'll show you in a minute, you won't really have enough data to analyze. And by the time you've added your filters, you can actually filter out everything, so you're left with nothing. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're clicking enough boxes, but don't go crazy and click them all, because you just have too much data to analyze. Okay, but so if I come down here into baby foods, I'm not really into baby foods because that's going to give me issues with regulations, and I don't really want to jump through hoops there. Bibs and burp cloths, yeah, I'm interested in that, so I'm going to tick bibs, burp cloths, and bibs and burp cloths. Can't say it this morning, sorry. So I tick those three. So basically, what you do is just carry on ticking some of these. You got about sort of 10 to 15 of these clicks. So I'm going to leave it there for the moment. So once you've done your selection, what you do then is come up to the top here, and you've got the green start button. Okay, so basically what you do then is just click that, and it will go off and start to extract data. Now, what it's doing here is the software is going directly inside of Amazon and pulling this data direct out of their database. What it's not doing, and what some of the other products do on the market, is that they will download the data from Amazon and store it onto their database, and they will update that on a periodic basis, whether that be a weekly, 2-weekly, or monthly basis. So what's happening there is the information that you're analyzing is old information, because what's happening inside Amazon update their information on an hourly basis. Okay, on an hourly, but every hour Amazon will run the numbers and update your listing. Okay, so if you've sold a product, you've got an extra review that will show up on your listing. Consequently, it will show up on everybody else's information. So all of the data is just an hour old when we're doing Amasuite.
And
okay. Go on.
And this comes up for me is, and one of the differences again between Jungle Scout and Amasuite, I can't tell you how old Jungle Scout's data is. I imagine it's updated pretty regular. I mean, Jungle Scout has become a large company, and they've got lots of employees. So I can't tell you the timing on it. Is instant better than 3-week-old data? You could toss a coin on that. But if it's 6-week-old data, absolutely could be an issue, because bottom line is what's sold in December is different than what's sold in February. So if you're running numbers, with data that's older coming out of Jungle Scout, I mean, there may be an issue there. Now, I'm not saying that is. I don't know for sure what, the amount of times that they're updating their information. Now, it may be much quicker than we think, and they're doing it once a week. I don't know that. Maybe that's something I can send Greg a question about and ask him how often they're renewing that data. But I know it's not as on time as is Amasuite. But as you'll see, when you're pulling these numbers, it does take a little bit longer. I mean, Jungle Scout's searching a database that's sitting there, so it just instantly does it, and whereas this, goes and gets it live.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's worthwhile reaching out to Greg, see what the frequency of his database is updated. And that's a good point, Rob. Right, so we've now got some data here. And like I said, when you don't run yours, you would have more data than this. I'm just using this as an exercise, and I'll pull in some real data later on. But you can see what we've got here. We've got sort of a number of different columns showing the data itself. We've got the rank in the position that we've actually pulled it out. We've got the category. We've got the product ID, title, and some various different other. But what you'll notice on here is a lot of these categories is not extracted. Let me expand this out a bit. So this data here is not extracted. Some of this data here is not extracted, and some of the important data that we need in order to make a sort of real educated decision on when we're analyzing, we need this data. Okay, we need that. So what do we do? Well, luckily we do have some information that we can work with to start with, and that again is important information. And I guess it's these three columns here. So we got sales data, sales price, we've got a rating and the reviews. But I would say out of those three, it's really the two that we're interested in, which is the sales price and the reviews. And this is where we can actually start to make our first filter. So as an analogy on this, if you're panning for gold, or if you've got some stuff on this, this is where your coarse filter would go. So you dump all of your pay dirt on top of the first filter, and that gets rid of all of the big rocks and stuff like that. So you can actually chuck those away, because we're not interested in that. And this is exactly what we're going to do here. We're not interested in stuff that's selling for $100. We're not interested in stuff that's selling for $2. Okay, we're not interested in analyzing people with 4,000 reviews. And so let's have a look at filtering these two areas. So down the bottom right-hand corner, we've got two areas. We've got filters and clear. So I'm interested in the filters. So I'm going to pull up the filters, then show filters, which has got a little funnel symbol next to it. So that's going to bring up a pop-up menu. Pull it up on my other screen. So let me open that for you. So this is the pop-up window, and like I said, we've got two areas that we can actually concentrate to start with. So this is our pre-filter before we get down to the real good stuff. All right, so let's get rid of the stuff we're really not interested to start with before we go and extract this data, this other data that we're interested in. So on here, on this filters pop-up window, you can see there's three columns here. So you got the first one is the column heading itself. So let's go in and look at the sale price. So we've got to just scroll down and find sale price. Once we found sale price, just select that. Then the next area over is compare type. So if you look at that and press in there, it's going to bring you some options. Now, when we're looking at the sale price as an attribute, when we're trying to find products, what we try and do is look for something that's going to give us enough margin, in other words, enough profit in order to reinvest in the product and build the brand and build your business. But also, I don't really want to be investing too much to start with on my first product or second product. So therefore, I don't want to be selling products that are too expensive. So we can put a cap on this. We can put limits, so we can lower limit and an upper limit. And what we suggest is the lower limit is around $17 and the upper limit is around $50. Those can vary a little bit. Call it 20 and 60 if you want. But I wouldn't go too much lower than 17, simply because if you're selling products down there at the $10 range, which I have done in the past, trust me that there's not a lot of money in there. That's really a volume game. You've got to be selling thousands a day to make that worthwhile, which I was trying to do straight out the gate. That's more advanced techniques later on down the road. So to start with, let's add the lower cap in. So we need greater than. So I'm going to select greater than. Then I'm going to put my value in the value. So I'm just going to type that in. I'm going to put 17. Okay, so that's my first filter. I now need to go down and add another one. So just click add. Then I'm going to put the upper limit on the sales price. So I need to go and select sale price again. So I'm just going to scroll down and find it, select it. Then I'm going to do less than. And this time around, I'm going to put in less than, I want 50. Okay, so it's products between 17 and 50 that I'm interested in filtering. Anything else, I'm not interested in looking at. So what's going to happen is when I press apply or done, that's going to get rid of everything outside of these limits and just show me products that are selling between $17 and $50. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to add one more on here, and I'm going to do reviews because that's the only other piece of information that we can really meaningful filter out. So on reviews, I'm going to add reviews, and I'm going to go less than. And again, these numbers are just guidelines. All right, they're not set in stone. They're not concrete. If you go outside these, nothing's going to go like seriously wrong. But they're just our guidelines to start with. And I sometimes switch this number around a bit if I want really dive in and just find very specific. So I'll bring this number down, but I normally start with around 300. Okay, and again, you can vary this number. Same with all of these numbers, you can vary them a little bit. So that's it. That's all we can really look at
Right.
to start
Hey,
with. Yeah, go on, Rob.
So let me explain this because I think it's important. We got to get that mic out of there. It loves the echo. The reason we're doing this is Amasuite is able to pull the data that you see here, and if you'll see here it says stuff that's not extracted, and what not extracted means is this kind of does it in a two-stage thing, and this is just a little hack that I learned because it takes, like we said, it takes you 1 or 2 seconds if you're searching through 10,000 products. 1 or 2 seconds, even 10,000 seconds adds up. So what this does is it allows you to take away the results that it's going to now, when you do this, what's going to happen is going to eliminate a lot of these products. And when you go what we call delve deeper down into it, and Paul's going to show you that next, what we're trying to do right now is just eliminate some of these that we don't need to go get the data on. There's no reason to go learn about some of these products, if the sales price isn't right. So what these 3 things do is it just takes all of these, let's say there's 5,000 of them, it'll reduce it down to 2,000 because they're only going to look now. And when we pull that data, we're only going to find the data for that specific product at that point. So the reason for this is it's a time saver. And these filters, all this is reality, a really great spreadsheet. And you're just filtering the spreadsheet out. And this is going to allow it to not search because it's going to go out and get this information live. Apparently, the API must be easier to find these kind of things first, and it pulls them relatively quickly. But it's just our first initial filter, so we don't have to waste a bunch of time pulling information from a product that costs $14.95. All right.
Very good. Okay, so now I've set those filters. I'm just going to go done or apply. And you can see down the bottom here, I've got 600 items down here on the bottom left. So I've got 600 items in here. So once I apply the filter to that, that's going to cut that down. So now I've finished with the filters. I'm just going to close that. And you can see now I've got 108 items left. All right, so it's now got rid of all of that stuff that sits outside those filters. Okay, so what you do now is you want to now go and find that extra information where it's got not extracted. We now actually want to go and extract that information. And this is the section that takes a long time to do. So I'm just going to start this to show you the process, and you'll see some of this coming in. But before I do that, I want to be able to save this information. Okay, so if I want to save this data and come back to it later on, you can always do that at any point. So all you got to do is come up to the floppy disk, okay, and select that, and then go save to project file. Okay, there are other areas that you can do this. You can save to CSV. In other words, you can download the information. You can save as a text file, asins to file. If you want to upload various different asins to wherever you want to do that later on, you can do that. But basically what we're interested in doing is a save to project file. So if you just save to project file, that's going to bring up your particular Amasuite folder automatically. And then I'm just going to put in test 1 for the moment, and just save that. So that information is now saved, so you can actually pull that back up later, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. But for now, let's go and extract some of this data. So you need to come down the bottom. You'll see there's 3 buttons down here. You got file, you've got controls, you've got more data. So if we select the more data button, that's going to give us a number of different options. Now, the one that we're interested in is the top one. So extract data for all rows. So if I select that, you'll now see that sort of churning away. So you got the little spinning wheel at the top. You got a progress bar, and you'll see this moving along very slowly as it goes through. And you'll be able to see some of the information that's coming in. So the top 2 are in now. So it's now got all of that other information. It's got the main category. It's got the main rank. And it's starting to pull in the weight. who ships by, the site it's on. Well, we know we're on .com anyway. Total offers, dimensions, and this other information over here. So this normally takes, when I ran mine last night, it probably took me about 2.5 hours to gather all of the data. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to run through and sit here for a couple of hours waiting for that, waiting to finish, because there's no point in doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this. Okay. I'm going to clear this data. I'm going to pull in the data that I downloaded last night. So if you want to clear this data at any time, what you can do is come over on the bottom right-hand corner. You got clear. So if you just press that, it says, "Are you sure?" In this case, yes, I am sure. I do want to clear that. So let's start again. Right. So we've now got a fresh pane. Now, assuming that you have saved some data, you can now pull that in at any point and start to analyze or pick up or reapply or adjust your filters on the fly. So I'm just going to go and import data from files. So I'm going to go to my file little icon at the top here. Load project file. Or it's got other options as well. Open installed folders or open last working folder. But I'll just go load project file. And automatically just brings mine up anyway. So the one I had last night is in the beauty 2 with filters extracted. So I'm going to pull that in. Hopefully this will work. And there's my data that I actually extracted last night. So you'll be able to see here that if I expand out some of these columns, we'll be able to see exactly what we've got. Moving through. All of this information is now extracted, and it's now good to start to analyze, basically. So we've got all of this information where we've got need to be extracted or not extracted. It's now extracted. Okay. So we can now go and start to look at analyzing all of this. Now, over on the right-hand side, we've got a couple of columns. Proxies, don't worry about proxies. Proxies is for big power users where you're using this like 10 times a day. Sometimes Amazon will pick up on that for whatever reason and go, hold on a minute, what are you doing? It's like you're tapping into our database too regularly. I'm going to put a block on your IP address. Now, what Amasuite have done is they've put a little system in here that allows you to basically set up a VPN and tap into one of their steady VPNs. So that's all that is. Wouldn't worry about that. I don't know anybody that uses that. But over here on the columns, you can actually, if you press columns, you can actually select what we're showing. All right, so you can have a look at. You can tick some of these list price. We're not interested in the list price. Sales price, yes, that's correct. Ships by main category total. I'm not interested in that. Dimensions. I'm going to leave that on because that can be quite important to actually establish. It might be a lightweight product, but it might be huge. So I'm not looking at shipping large products around. An opportunity. So you can basically sort of select the columns that you have over here. So if you're happy with that, just leave that alone. Some of the other settings I want to do before I actually start to analyze various different things. Bearing in mind we've already got the data, so it's now time to go and sort of apply some filters. But before I do that, I'm going to actually come up to the gear cog at the top here, and that's going to pull up another pop-up menu. Now on this pop-up menu, I'm interested in the opportunity score. So to start with, we've got the general settings where we can actually sort of look at pounds or kilos, stuff like that. We've got a column quick filter. These are the filters at the top, which I don't use. I use the filter bar, which I'll show you, and the opportunity score. Right now, what's the opportunity score here? This is basically a color coding system. All right, that's basically what it is. So we'll be able to see that once we start to apply the filters, we'll get some columns or some cells come up in green, maybe some in amber as well. Now, the ones that come up in green, that means that they actually fit within our filter inside our limits. Okay, anything that's amber means, well, this product, some of those attributes fit within, but some of them don't. Yeah, so you can actually set what that is here. So we've got the main rank range. So this is the BSR, and each of these has got a weighting or an importance score next to it. So they're all set to 10 as default, but I can actually change some of these up if I really wanted to. So if I think for whatever reason that my BSR is not really important, I can actually drop this down, and that'll have sort of less importance when it's doing this calculation. But for now, I'm going to leave that as 10 because I think the main rank is quite important. Okay, now the desired ranges. Now this is not a filter. This is just going to apply the opportunity score. All right, so this is not a filter, but it allows the software to actually say, you know what, this product here actually fits within your desired range for each of these attributes. All right, so I'm going to change this up a little bit because I want sort of greater than 2,000. I'm going to put 5,000 down, and I'm going to change 10,000 to 15,000. All right, so that's the products that I'm interested in looking at. My sweet spot. I think between 5,000 and 15,000 as a BSR. Again, you can come in and change these. This is not a filter. This is just the upper and lower limit for my color range. All right, so there's a bit of a difference between this and filters. Main rank position, we're not actually looking at that. That's more into arbitrage. If you're looking at any arbitrage products, which we're not. So ratings range. This is really when you look at an Amazon listing, you'll have sort of 5 stars, or it'll have a 4.8 or a 3.4. So that's a score that Amazon are giving your particular listing or a particular listing based upon feedback from the buyers. Now, if the buyer keeps on leaving you 1-star reviews, you're obviously going to get a poor rating. If you're getting 5-star reviews, that means your product is pretty damn good, I would say. But this allows us to actually look at opportunities to improve the product. So I'm going to leave that at 3.5 to 4.6. I think it's pretty cool. Weight range between 1 and 3 pounds. We've got pounds set over here because we were on US marketplace. Reviews range, I'm going to switch this up a bit. I'm going to go from anything more than 10 reviews I'm interested in, and anything less than 300. I'm going to keep that the same as what I've set the filters up. Total offer range, again, that's we're not interested in that. That's more arbitrage stuff, which we're not covering. Sale price 17 to 50. That's got that in there from my last settings. And the standard size. I'm interested in shipping standard size products or selling standard size products according to what Amazon classify as standard. Anything over that, you're just going to pay more for handling and FBA fees and such like. So this is my opportunity score settings, which will show me in colored format once we do the filtering. So I'm just going to press done there. Okay. And you can automatically see the opportunity score coming up down here. So the red one there is clearly not meeting any of that criteria. The green ones are. All right. So time to filter. Now we've got our data here. Let's apply some more filters. So if I show filters, we're going to go, and again, we'll go through the sales price. Now, I know this has already been filtered out, but I'll just put that back in there. Again, I'll show you something that will save you doing this again. You can actually save these filters and pull them up instantly. And once you pull them up, it will automatically filter any data that you have on the page. All right. So let's go sale price again. Let's do less than 50. Go reviews. Less than 300. Okay. Right. So what I'm doing, that was my first initial filter that I used to get this information here. Now what you can do is just to save time, is just save this set of filters. All right, so I'm going to save that. And again, I haven't got this filter, so I'm just going to call this my first pass filter, because that's basically what it is. First pass filter. All right, save that. All right, so that's basically what that was there. So now I'm going to go into the second pass filter, and now we're interested, and now we've got the information that we can actually start to analyze. I'm going to start using it. We've got the information now for the main rank. All right, we've got the information now for the weight, okay, which is pretty important stuff. So let me add the first filter there for the main rank, and again, I'm going to set this to limits. So if I can find it, once you've found it, just select it, and I'm going to go more than or greater than. And again, you can change these numbers up, and once you change these numbers up, it will give you different results. So here I'm going to go greater than 5,000. Okay, I'm not trying to compete with the top dogs in any category. So therefore, I'm interested in anything that's greater than 5,000. So I'll go back to the main rank again. Come back to the main rank, select that, and then now I'm going to do less than. Now again, these are just guidelines, guys, and you can actually change these around. And if you change them around, they will give you different results, obviously. So I'm going to just stick that in there for the 15,000 for now. I'm going to add one more filter. I'm going to add weight in there because we've got weight in there. I'm not interested in shipping anything that's really heavy. So I'm going to scroll down and try and find weight. Once I've found weight, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to go less than. And in this case, I'm going to go less than 2 pounds, less than 2.5. There you go, less than 2.5. So I'm changing it on the fly. Right now, before I do anything else, I'm going to save this set of filters. All right, so I can actually pull this set of filters up anytime I want. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go second pass filter. All right, so I just save that, and that's got that covered. Right, so now you can see that I've got 776 listings showing in my sort of data results. So I'm now going to apply and done. So let's drop that down to 90. Okay, so we've now got 90, so I can now close my filters box. And you can bring that up anytime you want. Just go back into filters and show filters, and I'll just bring that back up. Okay, so from the filters, we can actually see that because we've set our opportunity score, we've now got some colored boxes on here. And all of those colored boxes, because the opportunity was pretty much in line with the filters, it's all showing as green. But if you were to actually hone in and really narrow down that opportunity score, so if we wanted the reviews, I could have put that to 10, between 10 and 100, for example. That would have shown some of these out. And in fact, let's go and do that just so we can have a look at what we're doing here. So on reviews, let's try and find reviews. So we've got reviews range here. So I'm going to change that 300 to 10, between 10 and 100. Okay, done. All right, so it's now re-established where we are, and it's adjusted that opportunity score. Now what you can do is just click on the top of any of these, and it will just sort between highest and lowest, or greater to lowest. So if I do the opportunity score, click on that, it's got the now the lowest. If I do the other way around, it's got the top ones there. So this is the greatest opportunity. So it's got a score of 105.09, and I think the lowest one was 50 something. So what it's saying is this one is twice as good as the bottom one. All right, so as an opportunity, potential opportunity. All right, so that's all that's showing there. Right, so now we've got this 90 results here. So now it's time to actually start to analyze it. Now the easiest way to do that is coming down into controls, and down the bottom 3 buttons down here. So we go controls, press that, That's going to give us a number of different options: instant search, save asins, and preview. So if you press preview, that's going to bring up a separate HTML file, and let's brought it up in something that I don't want it to come up in. Let's see if I can do this. Let's come up in Edge. I want it to come up in Chrome.
Isn't it amazing how Edge will jump in there on you?
I know. It's all good, but I can't get my Chrome extensions to load on Edge. So I'm going to see if I can just oh, it's actually brought it up. So all I've done there is, if you are working on Windows 10, all I've done there is just copy the URL from Edge and just put it into Chrome. So that worked as a nice little shortcut. Right, so this is an interactive HTML, and what we've got here is the opportunity to have a look at the products. It's got the images, it's got the hot link ASIN number, which will actually open it up into the Amazon listing itself, and it's got sort of various different other information, like the title, main category, main rank, and such like. All right, but this allows us to instantly run down here and think, you know what, is this a good product or not? Now, when I'm doing this, I automatically, because I've been doing this for some time, I automatically, in my mind, go through this and apply the do not touch or products to avoid. All right, now just to recap what the products to avoid are, off the top of my head, it's electronics. All right, I don't want to be touching anything electronics. Liquid, I don't want to be touching anything that's liquid. Anything that goes inside you or on the body at this moment in time as a starting product, I'm not looking to do that. I'm not looking for breakables, in other words, fragile products. I'm not looking to start off with products that have got too many moving parts to them, too complicated. Okay, parts that need a lot of assembly. It could potentially come in multiple boxes, because at some point one of those boxes will get lost, or someone won't be able to put it together, regardless of how simple that the instructions are. Right, so I automatically run through that as I'm looking there. So there's the hot brushes there. That's one ceramic. So the ceramics could break. I know that personally. I've broken some. My wife wasn't particularly happy at the time, but it's electronics, so I'm going to steer clear of that for the moment. These little exfoliant sponge brushes, they could be pretty cool. So if you like the look of something, just go and have a look at it. So what you do there is just click on the ASIN number. So it's blue, so it's a hyperlink. So if you press on that, it's going to come up with a separate window. And what it would do is it'll bring up the Amazon listing. Now, if I just hide that for a moment. So I'm not interested in really looking at the individual listing. What I'm looking for is, what are my competitors in this particular product? If I want to start selling this product, you know, what's the marketplace like? You know, what's the the playing field like with respect to competitors and products? So therefore, what we do is we look at the best keyword that we can actually try and find that the best simulates or best describes this product. And I guess it's exfoliating loafer sponge pad, or loafer sponge pad, or exfoliating sponge pad. I'm going to put in those first four words to start with. So what I'll do is just copy that. Up in the Amazon search bar itself, I should just paste it in there. I'll just change this to all departments, and I should just press search. Okay, and that is now brought up all of the products for that particular search term. Now, what I'm saying is that that may not be the most accurate. So what I'll do is I'll just test some of these out. In other words, take out exfoliating, take out loafer, take out pads, for example, and just test one. Make sure I've got the biggest category that I'll find. Now, at the moment, it's showing 321 results for this particular search term. But you can see here, we've got our particular product that came up on the listing, but we've got a number of different similar products, and they are very similar as well. But what we do now is just run Jungle Scout. Now, the reason why we're running Jungle Scout is if I just go back to the report here, you'll see that on the top categories or the top columns, it's basically showing us the information from inside Amazon itself. All right. What it's not showing us is any information with respect to, or okay, what's the estimated revenue of this particular person here or this seller? What about the amount of revenue on this front page, which is an important attribute we need to be looking at. So again, Rob mentioned the super product selector earlier. If you haven't got the super product selector, you can easily download that from various different places. It's inside the Facebook group. It's inside the membership area. If you really can't find it, just let me know or Rob know, and we can just send you the link so you can download it. But in there's 30 attributes that you can actually look at, and one of those is making sure there's enough revenue on the first page, making sure there's not enough competitors, etc. So, and this is where you need something like Jungle Scout or ASIN Inspector, one of those to do the analytical work, or
we can use the free version of Unicorn Smasher.
Correct.
Unicorn Smasher. So if you don't want to have both products, then this would be an option. You don't. And Unicorn Smasher will give you enough information that it's valuable enough to give you sales figures and show you how the money comes down the page. Now, that doesn't always mean these things are 100% accurate, but what it does do is it gives you an idea how the money is separated and those kind of things. And that's probably, as important.
Yeah, you certainly need to analyze where we are. So in this case, I'm going to use Jungle Scout Pro Chrome extension, which I've got loaded. So I'm just going to press that. And that's going to bring up my blank page. But it's now going to go off and start to analyze and pull that data in. So I've got my Chrome extension here set so it's showing the estimated revenue, the reviews, the FBA fees, and the net, okay, as well as the selling price and the brand. So what I'm looking for here instantly as this loading, so let it load, but I'm looking for the estimated revenue. Is there enough money on this front page in order for me to get excited to think, what, this is a potential product that I could go and do some more work on. In other words, put it on my shortlist. What we're trying to do here, guys, is try and identify potential opportunities. This is not a tool that will show you, ding, this one here is a definite winner. All right, you need to go and do the groundwork with respect to, okay, this is a potential product because it meets the first set of criteria that I'm looking for. In other words, it's got enough revenue on the first page. And we like to look at least 75,000 on the first page, call it 100,000 on the first page, but no more than, say, 300,000. Because if you've got more than 300,000 on the first page, it shows that it's a very competitive arena to get into. If it's less than 75,000, it's probably going to be hard work to make any money. Getting on, even if you're on the first page. If you're on the second page, third page, you're going to be selling a few a week, maybe a few a month. Very difficult to make any money. So that's the initial look-see with respect to, is this product any good? The second look-see is, there's three things I initially look at when I'm looking at something like this. Is one, the estimated revenue. Now I can quickly add this up, and there's not 75,000 on that first page, as you can see. What I'll do is I'll just zoom, because I can zoom in here. I'll just do that for you. I just move that over. Yeah. estimated revenue, you can see there's not 75,000 on this first page, clearly. But the next thing I look at is reviews. So let's have a look at the overall reviews. Now, again, I'm not interested in big sellers, predominant brands that have got 1,000 reviews. Clearly, I'm not going to be taking on an established seller that's got all of those reviews. But on here, you can see, for example, I don't know where we got the I there. We're just not getting enough information from Amazon through here. But they got 485 reviews. That's still not extraordinary. You know, that's still quite low. But the rest of them are very low. But initially, I would pass on this because it's gotten not enough revenue. But I'm just saying that 3 things I look at is the estimated revenue, the reviews. Now, the reviews is really good on this one. And then I come over and then I look at the sale price. Now, what's the average price on here is I'm interested in selling, don't forget, products that are $17 or more. Now, you can see here that's I'm going to struggle to sell a product that's $17, $20 maybe. There's only 2 sellers there. One at $18.83, one at $18.97. The rest of them are $10 or less. This is not a product I'm interested in selling. Okay, simple as that. So my initial review of the analytics that come up is nice looking product, but I'm not interested. So therefore, I would just move on to the next one. Okay. So as you're scrolling through, you know, you're looking at various different products. Acrylic box, that might be all right. I don't know. How big is it? It's not too big. It's £2. Could I actually put my own logo on this and make it my own? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure you could. No problems. You could work with a supplier and get Paul's Beauty box put on there, no problems. So again, what I do is, if you like the look of something, just go in there and pull it up in the Amazon listing itself, and start to look at the potential keywords. And just as an example of a listing, this is a poor listing. All right. Now, what I mean by a poor listing, the title's not very good. It's not very long. I'm struggling to see what it is actually. It's a prima donna medium case. What's that? Is it a makeup case? Is it a going away travel case? I don't know. It's only got 2 images. It's got 2 photographs. You can have 9 bullet points. These are not bullet points. These are just like, there's 3 words there, 4 words. This is a very poor listing. But I guess this is a vanity box or makeup box. I'm not even going to try and think about what that is. I'm just going to put in makeup box, I guess. Change that to all departments. Now, again, once you've got a product like that, sometimes it is a case you've got to guess what the main keywords you're looking for. Now, sometimes you have to actually play around with what you put in here. Now, again, makeup box, I think it's going to be very, very competitive market to get into. Even though it was showing up here, this particular box was meeting the criteria within the filter. That's why it's on this list. But if you start to analyze it, this is what I'm saying. You need to analyze the data that you've got. So if you start to analyze that, I know this is going to be very, very competitive. This number over here at the top hand side, the bigger it is, it just means there's more results coming up for that particular keyword. The less number, like the previous year, it was in the hundreds. This time it's 55,000. So it doesn't mean to say there's 55,000 competitors. It just means that particular keyword came up 55,000 times. Now, makeup brushes, that's clearly not a makeup box. So you need to go off and analyze that. 20 pages minimum. I bet there's more than 20 pages there. So, and again, what we need to be doing once we start to analyze is look at the number of competitors. Now, ideally, we're looking for less than 100, 150 competitors is the area that we're looking at. You don't want too little competition, because again, there may not be the demand there to sell a product. But 100, 150 competitors is the sweet spot. Can you go over that? Yeah, sure. Can you come under that? Yeah, sure. Like I say, everything's a guideline, but yeah, that's a pretty good guideline to actually start with. If you don't know the shortcut, I'm not going to go through here because I can't get to page 20. Look, it won't let me select page 20. I can only go 4 or the next page. I want to go to page 20 and see what the competition's like, see if I'm still getting all of this. So up here in the URL, I'm trying to find page equals. Now, here it is, page equals 3. So that's showing me that I'm on page 3. So if you look at that, page 3, I'm just going to change that 3, get rid of that, and put in 20. Hit enter on my keyboard, and it's going to take me to page 20. And guess what? We're still getting makeup boxes. Right, it's the last 2. There is 20 pages, but it is still makeup boxes on page 20. This is way, way too competitive. And this last listing's got 411 reviews. So this guy's been selling a bit, and he's on page 20. This is crazy competitive. Too many sellers in that particular environment. So basically what you would do is just go through here and try and find the right opportunities. So now let me see if I can find something that's pretty close to what we're looking at, so I can give you an idea. I know we're running over a little bit, but bear with me, guys. As I'm scrolling through, don't forget I'm applying the products to avoid as I'm whizzing through electronics, liquid, electronics. There's another makeup box I'm not interested in getting into. Let's have a look at the roll-up organizer. And again, another not a brilliant listing. Could be a lot better. See, when you're searching for products, it's not a 5-minute job. All right, a lot of people come back, oh, blimey, so I spent all day on a product. I can't find anything. You're not going to find products instantly. Yeah, it does take time. It really does take time. And it's well worth spending time looking at it and going through this. Now, again, I think we've got the right keyword there, but again, I can tell you there's too many competitors in this market, simply by looking at this number at the top here. And again, if I look down, toiletry bags, and again, you can use that list on the left-hand side there to give you more potential ideas. But again, a very competitive market. So I would just keep scrolling down. Now, out of that 90 plus, what I've got is I might actually find 0 opportunity in the data that I've pulled up. Okay, not a problem, because then I can just cross that off my list and say, you know what, I couldn't find anything there, just move on. Okay. So as I'm moving down, I can't really see anything. Let's have a look at this bath pillow. I don't know. Bath pillow looks a pretty good keyword for me to put in there to actually establish what we've got as competitors. So I would just do that. Run this. And again, I think this is a highly competitive market to get into by the look of it. We've got some pretty good stuff there, but let's pull up Jungle Scout anyway, just so if we can see the difference between this and the first one that we had a look at. And you can see that the initially, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. If we have a look at the first area that I automatically review as the estimated revenue, I'm looking for more than 75. There is more than 75. Is there more than 300? No, there isn't. So this actually meets the criteria of the estimated revenue on the first page, between 75 and 300. Reviews, well, the reviews like, well, the top guys are really dominating this space big time. There's a few other reasonable players on the first page with several hundred reviews, but there's a few people in here that just got 3 reviews making $1,500 a month. Now 31 reviews making 4,500. All right, so that's not too bad. What's the selling price like? All right, so this, actually the selling price is not bad. You know, you could actually probably sell something over the $17 mark. All right, so from that point of view, it's okay. Now, if all of those 3 criteria meet, what I then do is just have a look at the brand, just make sure there's like not the same brand all the way down. And in this case, there isn't. Now, sometimes when you look at a brand, for example, there's, I don't know, Nike, for example. You know, it'd be Nike, 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 Nike. Somebody else, then Nike. It's very brand orientated or brand dominated. In this case, it's not. So that's just a cursory look, just to make sure that there's no one player dominating all of these listings. In this case, there's not. So you might think, well, this meets criteria. Let's have a look. So you're right. It does meet the criteria with respect to the first pass from an analytical point of view. All right. So the next thing I look at, well, Rob and I look at, is the number of competitors. All right. That's the very next thing. Once you've done that initial Jungle Scout look-see, have a look at the number of competitors. Now, and again, just use this number up here as a quick guide. Don't use it as the be-all, end-all. But that little shortcut I showed you earlier doesn't work on the first page. What you need to do is go down to page 2 at least. So you've got page equals at least 2 in your URL. So I'm just going to change that to 6. Now, the reason I go to 6 is sometimes there's 16 listings on your page. Now, 6 times 16 is 96, which is around the 100 mark. So I'm interested in less than 100 competitors. So if I'm at page 6 and I'm seeing all of the same product, I know that everything above that, between page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is pretty much jam-packed full of the same stuff. Therefore, they're all my competitors ahead of me. But on here, I'm actually seeing a gift box there. That's another gift pack. That's got nothing to do with that. A Nintendo carry case. It's as an inflatable one there. It says 2, 3. We're getting all sorts of stuff in here that is not bath related. Let's go to page 10 on this. Now we go to 10, we've got 16, so it's 160 competitors. Listings anyway. If I go to page 10, I'm still seeing bath pillows. Then I know that I'm in a competitive market. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8 out of 6. So that's half. All right. So half of the products on this page, at page 10, are my competitors. All right. So maybe there's something worth looking into. So this is what I'm saying. This number over here is a guide, and the guide only, not be all and end all. This is why you need to come through. So potentially, yeah, this is something I think is a little bit competitive. But maybe there's something now, I don't know. So what I would do now is, because I'm not sure, I would add this to my shortlist in order to go and do some further investigation. All right, but right now, what we're interested in is using Amasuite to get us these data points in order to come over and look at the results panel. Once we've got the results panel here, then we can start to analyze each individual keyword, in other words, the competitors. All right. If everything's looking reasonably okay, then it's worth putting onto a shortlist. In other words, on a shortlist, if I like the look of this, I would then go back to page 1. I would then have a look at the first listing. All right, I would then take this URL and I'll just put it in a spreadsheet. product item number 1, shortlist, bath pillow. All right. That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to do at this particular stage. Now it's time to go and do further investigation. Now you may say, well, what the hell is further investigation? Bearing in mind we're at an hour and 15, I'm going to leave it here and maybe do the further investigation next week so we can actually dive in and really do that deep analysis once you've got a short list. So let's just recap what we got here. So we've got all our data points. We know how to actually pick the data points because we've ticked the left-hand side. We've saved the data. We've pulled the data up. We've applied the first filter. We've applied the second filter, and that's given us 90 results out of, I think it was over 3,000 data points I had to start with on this particular search, and that has allowed us to find very quickly one potential product. All right, and now I'll just reiterate that I didn't spend too long, to be fair, going through this list, but I'm at the end here now. I could look at wigs, but the rest of it I didn't really look into. Hair dryers, no, I'm not interested in hair dryers. Other things like this, let me go over this for you. Other things such as the makeup bag, we had a look at boxes, hair pieces or extensions, could potentially look at that. But the rest of it is something that I'm not really interested in because it's either liquid or it's electronics or too competitive. So therefore, we're potentially found, out of all of that work, potentially found one product. Okay. And that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Sometimes you'll find 0. And there's a number of occasions where I've actually found 0. Okay. Don't let that put you off. It just means that what you've done is your due diligence. What you've done is you've ruled out those particular subcategories, and you say, you know what, that subcategory at this moment in time is not showing any opportunities. So therefore, I'm not going to waste my time thinking I'm going to sell hairdryers. I'm going to sell hairdryers. All right, just move on. Just move on to the next set of subcategories and do your analysis there. Okay. So if anybody's got any questions, please jump in. Rob, if you've got any questions, please jump in. If you've got any other points, do that now, because I know we're running over and your time is very valuable, people, being a Sunday evening and everything. But I hope that helped with respect to how to use Amasuite 5 top product analyzer. That what we could go into a lot. There's a lot more features on here that I could go into, but I think that gave you how to get results and how to analyze it. I think we do need to go through the deep dive potentially next week, so we'll do that. So how was that, Rob?
I think that was great. I think that did exactly what we needed to do. Yeah, I think the biggest thing you're going to have to realize is that this is a process. These tools will help you. Can you do it longhand? You sure can. And not that we don't recommend doing that. It's just it's not, it doesn't mean that you couldn't find a product by doing this longhand with the super product selector only, and then using Unicorn Smasher as your way to check sales volume. But it just depends on how quick you want to do it. So if you do purchase this software, Paul and I receive a payment on that because we are affiliates. But as a trade-off for that, we will hop on a call for an hour or so with you and give you a personal training session with this if you're interested. So if you purchase the product with our link, which will be in the description below, if you do that, then we will do a 1-hour training session with you live as a compensation for the value that that hopefully we give you enough value to purchase through us. So that's it. Any questions? I want to get this video ended. If you want to stay around, go ahead, Paul, and post that in. Once we stop the live broadcast, we'll stay in the classroom and answer all the questions if you want to come in and ask personally. But we definitely want to get this order. We try to keep these as close as we can to an hour today. We went a little bit over just trying to get this information in a great place for you. So one more time, if you want to come down and stay in the classroom after class, just hit that link that Paul's putting in the chat. It's down the bottom right side of the YouTube live area. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. If you got any questions this week, go ahead and put them in the boot camp or the Gorillaz base camp. I can tell you this, guys. We got people launching products around us all the time, and they're doing well with it. So just keep up the good work. You can do this. Don't get discouraged. It is a process. It will take a minute, but if you use the criteria and you work really hard and you try to keep in smaller niches, it should be much easier to do. So, all right, guys, thanks.
All right, team. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.